Alright guys, I figured I would film a bit of a buyer's guide video for you know, 93 to 02 F-body, and for my demonstration car I have my 02 V6 Firebird. So I get a lot of comments all the time on my channel asking, you know, hey, I'm looking at buying one of these cars, or you know, somebody I know has got one of these cars, I'm thinking about buying it, they're gonna sell it, whatever the case may be. And they're always asking me, you know, hey, you know, I'm in, you know, X situation, and you know, there's various variables in my life, and is this car going to work for me? And I always try to give them the best answer I can, but I figured this video should probably clear it up a little bit. So hopefully you guys will find this helpful, potential F-body buyers. So starting off, you have to decide if this car is going to work for you. This is not a, you know, giant Buick sedan that you can fit your whole family into. Okay, this is not a family car. This is not a pickup truck. You're not going to be able to tow stuff. I have seen people tow boats with F-bodies. Would not recommend it. So you have to think about if the car is going to work for your lifestyle, how you're going to use the car. If this is going to be your only car, I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Would I recommend that? No, I wouldn't. I would recommend getting something, you know, if you really want a performance, you know, one car solution, Pontiac G8, Chevy SS, that kind of thing would definitely be much better. But these cars are cheap, especially the V6 cars. And with the V6 cars, you get a lot of bang for your buck. With some minor modifications, you can make a pretty impressive performance machine for the money. So, start off on the inside. I get a lot of comments saying, you know, hey, I'm this tall, am I going to fit in the car? So we'll do a demonstration right now. I have the seat all the way back, I believe. Yep. So right now my seat is all the way back, and this is where I drive on the street. When I'm on the track, I do scooch the seat up a little bit, and I do angle it forward a little bit. But this is where I drive on the street. So I'm about 6'1", and I'm on the heavier side. Okay, let's just put it that way. But we'll get inside. Not terrible to get in and out of. Ergonomically, it's not great. The 5th gen is definitely better, but we're not bad. Once I'm inside, I can fit quite well. All right, I do have on the street, I do drive with the steering wheel up all the way, just because it's much more comfortable for me to get in and out that way. But if I'm on a longer trip or something and I'm in the seat for a long time, it is kind of nice to drop the wheel just at one click, just so you can see the gauges better. But interior quality of these cars sucks. I get a lot of questions about that. How good's the interior? Is the interior all right? Is it gonna rattle? Yes, it's going to rattle. They all rattle. This car is no exception. If you have leather seats and T-tops, it's only going to be worse. Radio, this one's got the base model 4-speaker system, and it's really not bad. It's really not bad. The monsoon system, if it works, fantastic. Most of the time they're all blown out, kind of a pain. Looking at all the gauges, I actually like the V6 cluster better because it only goes to 125, which I personally think is more useful. But you know, that's up for your discretion. This car's a hard top, so you don't have to worry as much about leaking water. This window seal is still, you know, kind of leaking, so just because you have a hard top doesn't mean it's not going to leak. But most people who buy these cars want T-tops, which I understand. T-tops are fun, but they do leak most of the time, so definitely something to keep in mind. Back seat space. Let's talk about back seat space. If you're buying these cars, don't expect to be able to put people in the back seat, okay? I was back there when I was a little kid, my dad's Trans Am. We had a lot of fun, you know, cruising around when I'm like 7 years old. By the time I was about 11 or 12, I'm like, okay, this really bites back here. You do not want to be in the back seat of this car. You can put people back there in a pinch, but dang, is it not fun, all right? Definitely not a place you want to be. If you got kids, you're hauling around all the time, especially if they're kids like over the age of like 8. Definitely don't want to be back there. Another thing, buyer's guide, you know, trying to help you guys out. The hatch is quite useful, okay? It's very roomy. You have the deep pit. You can fit a lot of stuff back there. There is like cargo tie downs here. I haven't taken out because I pulled the carpet up, but this back seat folds all the way flat. You can fit a lot of stuff back here, okay? So cargo capacity is really not bad. Really not bad at all. So you can, I've fit mountain bikes in these cars before, so you can fit a lot of stuff in here. Talk about the engine. Again, this is a buyer's guide video. big question you're probably going to ask yourself is, should I get a V6 or should I get a V8? And really, it's down to your wallet. The V8 cars are currently trading for about double or 3 times the price of the V6 cars, and personally, that's not worth it, okay? If a V8 car is, you know, 9 or 10 grand, okay, cool, go for it if it's a nice one. But if a V6 car is like 3 grand, yeah, okay, that's a way better deal. V6, fantastic engine, runs forever, 3000 Series 2, best V6 ever made, arguably the best engine ever made, okay? Can't go wrong with this engine. Same can be said for the LS. Very reliable, extremely powerful compared to this engine. Really comes down to what you're looking for out of the car. So really, it's down to what you want. I have both, and I still like the 3800 as a daily driver, as a track car. I don't feel as bad about ragging on it. You can use more of the power more of the time. The best endorsement that I can give the V6 car is I own a V8 car and I still love the V6 car. So do with that information what you will. I would shy away from the 3.4 V6 cars, the early ones. Those are a little down on power, not as reliable. V6 manuals, got a T5 5-speed. A great transmission for the V6 car. It's not good for power, but you don't have a whole lot of power with the V6, so no big deal. The V8 car's got a T56, much better, but much more expensive to maintain. Both automatics for the V6 and the V8 were 4L60s. Everybody knows about the 4L60. If you're easy on it, you're gonna be fine. If you're not, well, you're gonna be rebuilding it all the time. It is what it is. But yeah, that's kind of the buyer's guide, you know? These cars are pretty capable from the factory. Brakes aren't bad, suspension's not bad. With some minor upgrades like I did, pads and rotors and shocks and springs, oh man, what a difference. What a difference. So if you get one of these cars and you're relatively mechanically inclined, you can make yourself a pretty impressive little performance car. Definitely something I would try to do. But yeah, I mean, that's about it. That's about it. I would not recommend buying one of these if you're not mechanically inclined. Like if you're the kind of person that takes their car to the shop to get, you know, every little thing done, these cars can very, very easily nickel and dime you very, very quick. You know, I was going to take this car to the shop the other day to get a starter replaced. I guess about 2 months ago now. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it myself. And I'm glad I did, because I saved myself a ton of money. But it's like that with everything, you know. You really want to try to do it yourself, because you're going to save yourself a ton of money. And these cars are old, you know. This is the 2002, and this is as new as it gets with these F-bodies, okay? There is none after 2002. So 2002 is the newest F-body you can possibly buy, and yes, that's 20 years old now. So a 20-year-old car, even if it's only got, you know, 60,000 miles on it, you're still going to run into issues. This car currently has 102,000 miles on it, and it's treated me pretty well, but if I was taking it to the shop for every possible thing, I would probably hate it, just because it would nickel and dime you. Each time a little, you know, okay, a bulb goes out, or I need to get my brakes done. Brakes these days are incredibly expensive. Okay, that goes for any car. Definitely do your own brakes, but you know, shocks, springs, starter, headlight motors, that kind of stuff. If you go to the shop, it gets incredibly expensive. So if you're gonna buy an F-body, you gotta work on it yourself. You really do. Otherwise, I really think you're not gonna be very pleased with it. So definitely something to keep in mind. But if you're looking for a cheap, affordable car that looks like nothing else on the road today, this is the way to do it. They're comfortable. They're not impractical. You have a back seat that you can put stuff in, and you can put people back there in a pinch. You got a big hatch, fit all kinds of stuff back there, and just look at the thing. It looks awesome. They don't make stuff like this today. They really can't due to safety regulations. But I wouldn't say these cars are unsafe. I mean, I've gotten in accidents with F-bodies before, and I'm still alive, so, you know. Are they as safe as a modern car? No, they're not. But would I say they're unsafe? No, not at all. They have airbags. They have ABS. The ABS works really well. You know, you'd think a car from 2002, maybe the ABS wouldn't work so well, but it does. The ABS works fantastic. The V8 cars, sometimes you get traction control optioned. My Trans Am personally has traction control, but my dad's does not. You can tell because the traction control cars where that cubby is, it'll have a button that says TCS, and the cars that don't have traction control like this one will just have a little cubby. So something to keep in mind. But traction control works really well. So this is like a great era of, you have a car that you can mess around with, have fun with, but it still has modern conveniences. They do have heat, they do have air conditioning. In my experience, I've never really had an F-body that the air conditioning worked like properly, but you know, maybe someday I'll get around to fixing it. We'll figure it out maybe. But the radio, it's got a steering wheel with, you know, if you get a Trans Am, you got, you know, steering wheel controls. It's really not a bad car. It's old, yes, it does feel old. If you're used to modern cars, this will definitely be a step back for you. But these cars are totally daily drivable, especially if you live in a good climate. You know, Michigan where I'm at, not really the greatest daily driver, but I daily drove these all through high school and most of college, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine, no big deal. Once I lowered it, yeah, okay, now we're getting into like race car territory. But again, buyer's guide really comes down to what will you use the car for. If you are like, hey, I need one car and I want it to be cool and I have 4 kids, like, okay, you're kind of screwed, I'm sorry, but you are. But if, hey, you're like, hey, you're a single dude, don't really have like kids or a wife or whatever, you're like, hey, I want to have fun on the weekend, yeah, get one of these. They look really sick, they're like nothing else. You know, you see, like, you know, modern Camaros look pretty cool, but nothing's gonna have a side profile like this ever again. So they really stand out on the road today. Even though this car is a V6, I get thumbs up all the time, and I pull into gas stations, people are like, wow, that thing looks really cool. I'm like, yeah, it does, doesn't it? I paid $1,600 for it. So bang for buck, hard to beat these, really is. But yeah, any questions, let me know. Feel free to comment. I always try to answer all the comments that I can. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Any video recommendations, just feel free to comment.